But you'll stub your toe on the way out of the room in the morning. You'll trip over the dog on the way out. And then that person who said that they would do that thing for you didn't do that thing again. Why? Because you've got toxic thinking. Welcome to the present moment and to Chef Cynthia Louise's most beautiful new segment, the kitchen of the mind. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Kat Dawes. I'm Chef Cynthia's spiritual coach. And what Cynthia's done very well is sneak a little bit of NOWism into your kitchen. That's right, because Chef Cynthia is being driven now by a much larger divine story than just the recipes that are in her amazing cookbooks. Now, you might have noticed, in fact, maybe you're one of the people that has actually contacted Cynthia saying, "Excuse me, Cynthia, Chef, where do I get ease and flow? Or what exactly is living in the let-go? Or a pinch of gratitude? You know, and is there an organic version of this, and where can I get it, and is it expensive?" And this is where Cynthia always like, "Oh, Kat Dawes, go to Kat Dawes." You know, and so we're over and over and over, we are having this sort of smile behind the scenes of this interest that people have, and where do I get this little dash of gratitude from? See, at the bottom of every one of Chef Cynthia Louise's recipes, there is a little flash tag, not a hashtag, it's a flash tag, which is a bit of spiritual punctuation fresh from NOWism, which is reminding you and reminding Cynthia to consciously participate in the way that you're stirring that pot, in the way that you're frying the ism, in the way that you are waiting and testing temperature, marinating, and that you are actually in a open, alkaline state while you're waiting and while you are often experimenting with new recipes that can make you a little bit nervous, right? And so I want to welcome you to our first kitchen of the mind, where today the first topic is alkalizing your thinking. How do you do that? Well, let's talk about what that is, because we usually use the term alkalize, alkalinity, in terms of alkalizing the body, right?
We think about food, right?
Right, we think about food. You know, you might think of the pH level in your pool. I don't know, but there is a certain agreement in the health and wholeness industry, the wellness industry, of what it means to have an alkaline body. Because as soon as the body tips into some sort of toxicity, that's when we get dis-ease. This is when we get disruption in the body temple, where, you know, you start to feel lethargic, you start to feel inflammation, you start to feel sick, you start to feel dis-ease. And so one of the things that has been extraordinary with my journey with Cynthia is watching this amazingly powerful, intelligent woman actually realize that it's not enough to just alkalize the body. It's not enough. Because if you are drinking your amazing green smoothie, but you are having angry, toxic, doubtful, self-loathing thoughts, then you are offsetting the magical ingredients of the green and the chlorophyll magic and the health and the wholeness and the vitality and the wellness that's in this liquid drink, this green, beautiful drink. And so my work with Cynthia has been, number one, marrying her interiority to the amazing food that she is making, to the amazing recipes that she's creating for your home. Now, there was a time where Cynthia really had to learn this missing piece for herself, because she was doing everything else right. She had the health right. She was standing in the sun. She was drinking the water. She was moving her body. But when there was this relapse of dis-ease in the body temple, she threw her toys and was like, "Well, I don't get it. I don't get it." So if you have purchased Chef Cynthia's first cookbook, Plant-Based Love Stories, you might have seen a little snippet about me in there. I'm standing on a trampoline, right? So it goes like this. Cynthia, who had been doing all of the correct health practices, suddenly had a relapse of disease and wondering, what is it? Threw her toys, had the tantrum, and was like, "I don't get it." Now, I wasn't her favorite person in the world. She didn't particularly want to know much about NOWism. But that was my moment, because what I saw was a vulnerable woman who was really starting to ask a new question. What's the missing piece? And so I said to her, well, you've heard that term, that sentence, you are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. Well, my message to you is that you are what you think. You are what you think. What are you thinking about? Oh, and that's when it was like a mic drop moment, and she just stared at me. She just looked at me. And then she just looked at me. We should make a t-shirt with that.
Totally.
And so this was the moment where suddenly Cynthia, who had health and wholeness down pat, suddenly started to ask a new question about, well, what about the invisible world? What about thinking? Does that have anything to do with health and wholeness? What about emotion? Does that have anything to do with health and wholeness?
Especially when you're making a recipe.
Especially when you're making a recipe. And so this is where the adventure with NOWism truly began. Because not only is it important to alkalize your body, equally, I'm going to say even more important, to alkalize your thinking. Because why is it sometimes you hear stories of amazing 108-year-olds that are drinking the wine and smoking the ciggies, but living some joyous family life? Like, how come some people seem to be able to cruise on some sort of different life force? Now, we can say it's genetics. We can say so many things about this, but one thing that is happening during this time in human history is that there is a new measurement happening with neuroscientists and quantum physics, where they're starting to be able to measure the quality of a thought. Now, the placebo model says it all. The fact that they, even in the pharmaceutical industry, use the placebo as the controlled experiment says a lot about the power of the mind. And so I had to begin right at the beginning with Cynthia, because back then she was a bit edgy. And she had a whole lot of life story there that was a justified reason to feel edgy, protective, resentful, sad, filled with fear, so much doubt. You know, the charismatic woman that you see here today is a result of a very long, thorough, a intuitive new teaching, where she adopted NOWism as if her life depended on it. And I'm so proud to watch her now share this through her recipes and sneak it into your kitchen. Sometimes causing confusion. Well, what is this little dash of gratitude that I've got to put in this thing, and where do I get it from? And so we begin in the beginning, which means you get to alkalize your thinking. Now, this is not just a fluffy thinking, new age type of story. Like, this is not just about, you now just think happy thoughts. Because what about the times when you're feeling sad? What about the times where you are actually challenged? What about the times when you have your back against the wall and you don't know what to do? We don't want to lie to ourselves, and we certainly don't want to suppress how we actually feel. And that's where the art of NOWism comes into play. Alkalizing your thinking has to do with taking how you feel and then learning the craft of how can I talk about this in a way that's working for me and not against me. It is proven that if you think toxic thoughts, gossipy thoughts, if you are self-loathing towards yourself, that it will start to manifest in the body. If you are sad and angry and frustrated every day, not only does it start to manifest in the body, maybe just through tiredness and lethargy and apathy, but you'll stub your toe on the way out of the room in the morning. You'll trip over the dog on the way out, and then that person who said that they would do that thing for you didn't do that thing again. Why? Because you've got toxic thinking. So, look, this is a really big conversation, and if I'm resonating with you and you have an interest in this work and you want to know what it is, that little missing piece, how to alkalize your thinking, then please do all the things, click on the link, and you will find the digital trail to me and NOWism My name is Kat Dawes. Thanks for listening. And just remember, this is the kitchen of the mind.